Let me close with this. Our problems with the border didn't arise overnight and not going to be solved overnight. It's a difficult problem. It's clear that immigration is a political issue that extreme Republicans are always going to run on. But now they have a choice. They can keep using immigration to try to score political points, or they can help solve the problem. They can help solve the problem and come together to fix
employment. Federal aid adds $300 to that, but that expires next Sunday. And the worry is that even with the quick passage of the stimulus bill, benefits still may lapse.
And how quickly is it going to be implemented? And is there going to be a lapse of benefits? And the consensus is that something is going to go wrong, even if the bill is signed into law.
Direct deposit dates are here. Lawmakers have finally come to an agreement on future relief packages, and these new plans will include millions of bonus tax refund checks for Americans that have been impacted by the crisis. Massachusetts residents can expect to receive a one-time check this week. Billions of dollars more in excess revenue will be going towards new state stimulus. Now here's some breaking news. The Massachusetts governor has also announced that the first checks and direct deposits from a nearly $3 billion pot of excess tax revenue will head back to taxpayers starting on Tuesday, when the calendar flips to November. A spokesperson for the Executive Order and Office of Administration and Finance said that money will head out the door under the voter-approved tax cap law known as Chapter 62F, which taxpayers triggered for the first time since '87 by delivering massive amounts of taxes. About 3 million taxpayers will receive a refund in the form of a mail check or a direct deposit worth about 14% of what they owed in the state personal income tax, all in 2021. The administration plans to distribute the refunds on a rolling basis through December 15th. The administration had previously estimated refunds of about 13% of income tax liabilities. Taxpayers who owed state personal income tax last year and already filed their 2021 return are eligible and don't need to take any additional steps to receive the refunds. And also, everybody, let's not forget about this. Virginia is sending rebate payments in the order it receives tax refunds. So, if you filed your Virginia tax return by September 5th and are eligible for a September 2022 Virginia stimulus tax rebate, your rebate should be sent by the middle of this month. Many residents can also expect to receive the payments this week. Taxpayers will receive a check in the mail, and others will receive the Virginia tax rebate through direct deposit, all in their bank account. But according to tax experts, if you've moved since last year, the check may have been forwarded to your new address. And if Virginia doesn't have your banking information on file, you'll receive a paper check in the mail. And also, friends, more than 72 million American households will pay no federal income taxes this year. It makes a large decline. According to new analysis from the Tax Policy Center, an estimated 72.5 million households will pay no federal income taxes for the tax year 2022. The share marks a substantial decline from the 59% who paid no federal income taxes in 2020 and from the 56% in 2021. Both years were dominated by crisis-related shutdowns and restrictions. The number of Americans who pay no federal income taxes remain a hot political issue, with many Republicans arguing that more Americans should pay federal income taxes, and Democrats often argue that many of the rich don't pay taxes. So now, people are saying that it's more likely to owe no federal income taxes when they're unemployed or seeing dramatic reductions in income. The standard deduction, which effectively doubled after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, is now at $25,000 for married couples and $12,950 for single fathers. Anyone earning less than these amounts wouldn't even owe federal income taxes. Increases in the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit, for example, also boosted the number of non-payers, along with other government stimulus payments, which were a form of the tax credit. Now, with unemployment at or near record lows, and many of the credits and government payments ending, the number of Americans who owe some form of federal income tax will rise closer to its historical norms of around 60%. If unemployment rises and the economy falls into a deep recession, the number of federal non-payers could rise again. On the other hand, of 2025, when individual provisions of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act are set to expire, the number of non-payers could actually suddenly decline. Folks, hopefully President Biden could do something about this and send out stimulus payments. Now, a fourth stimulus check update, and we might need to know about 2023 Social Security, SSI, SSDI, SSA, Social Security benefits, and all that type of good stuff. Well, here's what I want you to know. After 4 days of voting, McCarthy has been elected to the role of the House Speaker after 14 failed votes since Tuesday. The California Republican was able to overcome his opposition. In doing so, he made a series of concessions that weakened the power of his office. McCarthy's team presented them with a framework of House rules changes and the promises that would appease the group, and ultimately prompted a 6th House member to vote present on a crucial move that lowered the threshold for a majority and paved the way for him to succeed. The Republican rules package released these included concessions. It would allow any one member to vote a motion to vacate the Speaker's chair and overthrow McCarthy. It makes it harder for the House to raise spending, taxes, and the debt limit. McCarthy also laid out an ambitious plan to address Congress. He said he wants to be the check and provide some balance. He says he wants to send out more checks, too, to President Joe Biden's policies. He said the first bill he plans to tackle will be repealing funding for more than 87,000 new IRS agents. McCarthy also claimed he will pass bills fixing urgent problems in the nation with an America First approach. He added he will also plan to address long-term challenges like debt. And the Fed has been adjusting pretty much everything from tax brackets to monthly Social Security payments just to help offset the record high inflation that's been hurting America's wallets. And I know many of you guys are anxiously waiting for the Fed to issue another round of payments that would help offset inflation. Well, 3 stimulus payments were already distributed in 2020 and 2021 during this economic hardship caused by the crisis, and the resulting job loss and business closure has created many individual states issued checks in varying amounts in 2022 just to help with the rising cost of inflation in lieu of checks from the Fed. Lawmakers know that millions of checks and millions of Americans are looking forward to new payments or tax credits this year, and these could ease the burden of financial burdens. And now, depending on variables like where you live, what you earn, and what you pay in taxes, and whether you own a home, well, you can have a check coming your way in the coming week and month. On top of that, the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 will lower some costs and deliver some tax credits. Currently, Alaska's Permanent Dividend Fund pays more residents an annual check in a portion of a state revenue from oil reserves. And while the fund isn't directly tied to inflation, well, the payments rose in 2022, right along with the price of Alaska's paid-in stores. Last year, payments jumped from $3,000 to $1,400, and the year before that, thanks to the increases in the price of oil. The final amount included a $650 energy relief payment. It's unclear if 2023 payments and permanent dividend fund will be padded with another inflation relief provision, but Alaska will pay unclaimed checks throughout 2022. Good to know that, because most eligible Californians received inflation relief worth up to $10,100 in 2022. The state will continue sending out the remaining middle-class tax refund payments through mid-January, so keep an eye out on this. Also, homeowners eligible for New Jersey's Anchor program can expect checks worth up to $1,500. The property tax rebate applies to residents who owned a home in 2020, but the benefits also extend to renters who are eligible to receive $450. The program will accept applications through January 31st, and payments will be issued in late spring. South Carolina are able to receive up to $800 in inflation relief checks. If the tax liability was less than $800, they'll receive that amount. And those who filed their 2021 returns by October receive payments on December 31st. If you miss the deadline, don't worry. Stimulus is on the way.
Well, thank you, Andy Marsh. Wow. What a great day. 120